You're doing way better than you think you're doing. You're doing way more than you think you're doing, and you're being way too hard on yourself. Hey creators, Aimon here, and this is where I help creators go full time. And occasionally we get philosophical, and this is one of those times. And the reason why I'm making this video is because if you're a creator, you probably need to hear what I have to say here. And, from what I said at the beginning, you're probably in the same position, right? You're doing so many things, but it's never enough. You're performing a lot. You're, just crushing your creative project. And you think that it's never going to be enough. And you think that you're not actually good. But what I'm here to tell you, and the only reason I know, is because, man, just life is tough, And as a creator, we're not built for this world. And you probably know that. You've probably maybe always felt like you're different to everybody else. You've maybe always felt like you'd never fit in like all the other kids did when you were younger, right? And that's okay, because you have a superpower. You have this creative thing, energy, skill, whatever it is. It's all under the same umbrella, right? But the world isn't built for us as creatives, right? It's structured in a way which is built for capitalism, for order. And if you're creative, we don't necessarily love rules, and we aren't necessarily good at following order. So I'm just here to cut you some slack right now, because you're doing way better than you think you're doing, right? You've had to try and fit into this weird world, which is not built for you. And you're probably so hard on yourself. And if there's one thing that you probably could, is an area of opportunity, because I like to say, rather than things are wrong with you, it's an area of opportunity for you, is to be less hard on yourself. Because we're all going to die, and people are going to forget about all this real quick. So if you're enjoying your moment-to-moment existence, I had a thought yesterday, it was a bit of a deep one, that I was like, success actually, and I'm not saying this is right or not, this is just a thought that I had, success actually is your state of mind at any given moment, right? It's not how much money you have. It's not how many abs you have. It's not how many amazing relationships you have. That's probably a good thing to measure it by, actually. But it's really your state of mind at any given moment. So as a creator, again, it's tough, man. We're not built for this world, really. And it took me 30 years to figure that out. And I've been hard on myself the whole time. And if my state of mind this whole time has been so hard on myself, I'm not good enough. And, whatever you're doing is never going to be enough. And you made this thing that you've been working on, this piece of music you've been working on for 12 years, and you've been honing this skill over 20,000 hours, and you're like, it's trash. If you're speaking to yourself that way, then what's your state of mind actually going to be like? And if that's your state of mind, then what's your quality of life going to be like? What's your level of success if that theory is right? Because we all know the millionaire, billionaire, whatever story, famous person that's just not happy at all. So it's are we getting the fundamentals right? Are you eating well? Are you drinking your green tea? Are you exercising? Are you meditating? These are the things that we need to be doing, right? And as long as we're doing those things, as long as we're trying to do those things as much as we can during any given day, any given moment, then it's going to, trying to stay away from the negative things, which is also really hard in this world, being a potentially neurodivergent person, maybe a sprinkle of autism, maybe a sprinkle of ADHD, whatever you want to call it. We're under the umbrella as creatives where our brains operate differently to the average person as far as we know. We maybe have a higher frequency of thoughts than the average person, which is a bit of a battle every day. Because if you're battling against these thoughts and your ego latches on to a lot of these thoughts, And the idea of the ego, again, we're getting deeper here. It's like the idea of the ego is to protect you, right? And so if you're creative and maybe you have a higher frequency of thoughts, there's have more thoughts than the average person, I'm just guessing, just theorizing, then there's more opportunities for your ego to latch onto these thoughts and identify with these thoughts, think that these thoughts are that its own, your ego's own. So, and then it can use this to create an identity to protect you. And that's not helpful. And that's why, again, meditation is like, as long as we're trying to do these things, we're trying to be aware of our thoughts. We're trying to be aware of what our brain's trying to do to us or for us. It's like that's all you can do. And if you're trying, and you're trying to cultivate happiness and passion and enjoy your moment-to-moment experience, you can't really ask for much more. Because, I know people that aren't very wealthy, and they're so stoked, right? And then I also know people that are making $500,000, $700,000 in a year. And their mindset, their day-to-day, moment-to-moment experience is average at best. Like, they're just not that happy. So if you're creative, you're doing better than you think you are. And you got to stop beating yourself up, man. And honestly, I'm this is a kind of a YouTube video that I would love to see. And this is why I'm making this. Because if you're a creative and you're anything like me, then this is the kind of video that I would love to just log onto YouTube, pop up in my algorithm and be like, man, this guy, he's right. We got to be less hard on ourselves. So that's why I'm making this. And the other element to this is that it's really important to make sure that you're making your work for you at the beginning of it all. If you got to get to the bottom of it. And if you're making your work for something else, for something external, you want validation, you want money, you want fame, you want status, all of that, you got to dig deep and figure out why you're actually doing this. And all those things might be nice sprinkles on top, right? But if you're doing it for that reason, unless you're creating a business to provide value to people, and then your goal is to make a profit of that, that's different, right? That's not an egoic reason, okay? And that's another element to tangent there, is that if you are making any kind of money off your art, I know it can be soul-sucking, but you're doing so well if you're doing anything like actually creating money from your art. But to zoom back out again, the core base reason has to be that you enjoy the moment-to-moment experience of the creation process for you. You enjoy spending your time, which is the only currency you have, on creating, because that's what you actually enjoy doing. And again, don't take my word for it. This is just my experience, right? But then anything on top of that is fantastic as well. And that's not to say don't ever set a goal to make money from your art. But, because that's a fantastic goal to have. And you can have a step-by-step process to get there. And you can check the courses out in my bio as to some of these things for how to structure your creative life, right? But, if at the very core of it, you actually enjoy the moment-to-moment experience of creating, and everything else on top of that is the sprinkle on top, And I would define, realizing that thing at the very bottom, you've got this fundamental, you've got this structure, and the cement slab at the bottom of it is you actually just enjoying your experience. I would say that is success, right? Because again, if we're saying that your state of mind as a creator, well, as a human being, actually from your moment-to-moment experience actually defines your success. If we think that has any merit, and you get to create, and then you enjoy that moment-to-moment experience of creating, that brings you joy, that brings you fulfillment, that brings you happiness. You're not just doing it to perform so that you can find your place in the world, right? So you can get status, which your ego is so tricky. It's going to try and trick you, my guy. But if you can really identify with that as a core value, then you're winning. You are successful now. And that's what this video is about. You're crushing it. If you get to create and you're happy doing that, that's all that matters. I think, anyway. Yeah, maybe you're not in the best job right now. Yeah, maybe you're not exactly where you want to be in life right now. But are you comparing yourself to other people, or are you comparing yourself to you yesterday? This isn't to say don't try and get better at your art aggressively. Don't try and be more disciplined with different things. This is not to just avoid any responsibility like that, because that stuff's awesome as well. But yeah, it's more about just actually enjoying your moment-to-moment experience as a creator, which can be tough because your mind, it's there to trick you and put a bunch of stuff in front of you and all this sort of stuff. So essentially, it's just be less hard on yourself. You're doing way better than you think you are, okay? And yeah, make sure you find those values. Make sure you're trying as much as you can. And if you are, I see you. You are doing a very good job. And probably not a lot of people say that to you. But you are. And you need to give yourself a little bit more slack, a little bit more recognition. Appreciate how much work and effort you are putting in. Stop beating yourself up again. But anyway, if there's anything I've missed in this kind of motivational video, you might say, I don't know. Chuck in the comments. I want to know like what you would love to say to yourself 5 years ago as a creator. Because that's kind of what this video is. Me going back in time, slapping myself and being like, watch this and abide by these rules, you know, because you'll enjoy your experience more and you won't be like gunning for external reasons for creating, you know. So keep at it. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.